We made it to week 3. I'm gonna go and turn to more dark matters because this week we are discussing ghosts. Well, it's currently 4 or 5 a.m. I'm actually getting ready to go to bed, but what I wanted to do was to film this video on Sunday. That way I would be sure to have it up on Monday and not be late. My dog is getting ready to have puppies. She is so fat. I think she's gonna have 10 of them. We decided to go with spirits for this week's topic. We want to get into talk about supernatural stuff. And at first I was a little about it because I thought, I don't really know what I'm going to talk about, but then it just hit me like a brick wall. I don't know why. I mean, I actually do have a lot of experience in this area. Growing up, I have a very violent history with spirits and ghosts, whatever you want to call them, demons, entities. Growing up as a kid, I had mixed opinions and feelings about spirits. Generally, I was afraid of them, but at the same time, I was intrigued by them. I was really interested in them. When I was a very young long story short, I lived 13 years in the same home with my stepdad and my mom, and then my siblings. But that house was extremely haunted. It was built in the 1800s, I believe. And I used to see spirits all the time when I was a kid, like, crazily. I mean, I'm not even sure if I realized that they were spirits. I know some of them I did, but most of the time, I mean, this one, for instance, was a boy named Tommy. He was a little younger than me. I thought he was a real kid. I started to keep a chart of all the spirits I had seen in the house and throughout my whole lifetime, and then I started keeping track of how many times I had seen each of them. Then I started writing my own book, even when I was a young kid, about the spirits I had seen. Well, later on in my life, I started to get into dark practices. When I first started to get very into witchcraft, I shouldn't say that, because when I was first into witchcraft is when I was into Harry Potter, stuff like that, really light and happy stuff. But I started to go through a really dark phase. I became very interested in dark stuff. Dark magic, black magic even, and I started toying around with Ouija boards, which is probably gonna be a separate week topic, because I'd love to discuss more about that, and demons. Me and my father would go to old abandoned buildings. His house was on an Indian burial ground, so we used to go out and do EVP recordings, pictures. I mean, I've done that my whole life since I was a kid, EVPs and stuff like that. But then there came a point where I started to notice that these spirits weren't friendly. I began to have run-ins with nasty entities, I'll say. Currently, and there's actually not many people that know about this, currently there is, I don't even know how many, I just know that there's a presence, some form of entity, a negative energy that's been following me. They've just recently started to interfere with my life again. I first started to experience them before I moved in with Austin, which is where I live now. This presence, it would really bug me sometimes. I mean, I got all the typical paranormal activity, the footsteps down the hallway, door like slamming. But one night I was laying in bed and I woke up in a hot sweat, heart racing, I was sweating, I had very high fever, my head was like pounding because it hurt so bad, and I just felt deathly sick. I literally felt like I was dying. And then I heard footsteps coming down the hallway and saw a shadow outside my door, and I thought it was my mother or somebody going to the bathroom. But then the door opened, and I didn't see anybody standing there. So I kind of got scared, so I laid down and closed my eyes and pretended I was asleep. I heard the footsteps walk up to my bed and sit down on my bed, and I felt the bed go down. And I didn't look, and so it got up, it went around behind me onto the other side of my bed, and it sat down, it got back up, walked out of the bedroom, and then I laid there and just laid there, stayed huddled up under my blankets quiet. My bed began to shake violently. Like, not rock back and forth like this, but it was like, okay, one end of my bed was rocking like this, and it started rocking really hard, and for some reason I thought that maybe that was an earthquake at first. But it turns out that whatever this thing was, I mean, that's what it was doing, and it would do all kinds of crazy stuff. We would have sodas sitting on a table that would get thrown across the wall, thrown across the room, and splatter across the wall. It just really crazy stuff, and I'm tired at the moment and not really able to explain things, but I've had a pretty violent history with entities and spirits. I don't know. I mean, I think it's the kind of lifestyle that I chose to live when I was younger. Also, my father might play parts in it, but I know that there's a reason that they're like this. They're trying to contact me or something. That's all I can think of for now. So, I look forward to conversing with everybody next week. Until then, come to think of it, I have a headache now.